Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Let's see, there's Lori and Riker. It's good to see you guys here. Am I coming in all right so far? And Susan, less regenerous. I'll get that right one of these days. Happy New Year to you guys. Happy New Year to all of y'all. Indiana. Can you guys hear me okay? Is the microphone working better? Thank you, Sandy. Thank you so much. Wow. I was almost late again for my own show, trying to get everything together. Haven't been able to get the people on that I've been trying to get on to bring them on a show. I don't know what's going on, but they have their reasons, I'm sure. Thank you, Riker. Happy New Year to all you guys. Coin Digger, I see you on there, buddy. It's good to see y'all. Absolutely good to see you. I hope y'all's Christmas went well. I hope y'all had a wonderful Christmas and got to spend time with your family and loved ones. I'm glad it's over. It was good, but glad it's over. We get to save up and for next December and get broke all over again. But I have a very interesting encounter sent to us. I'll read to you guys here in just a minute. From Australia. Oh, thank you, Riker. That if you guys that seen the picture leading up to this live stream of the owl. Last week I was in the swamp in another area that I haven't been to. There's my brother Michael Deere. Whisper to a Scream Crypt. It's good to see all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. But I had went to an area. It's a large area, and I always hunted the west end of it and the northwest. Well, I went to the south and the southwest area to try it out, and it's a lot of swamp down there. There's a lot of wild hogs. I did see a lot of deer sign, but I was easing through the swamp, and you know when you get that feeling that somebody's watching you, and I got that feeling, but it wasn't in a bad way, but I knew that somebody was I was being watched. And I looked ahead of me. I had to watch where I was stepping because I had just my regular rubber boots on, and it was very close to going over the top of my boots. And so I'm watching my feet until I get up in the shallower water. And that sensation came over me that I was being watched. And I looked ahead of me, and 15 foot from me was that owl, a large owl. He's probably 1.5 to 2 foot tall. And he's just sitting on the side of a tree. He was asleep, evidently, and he just had his head rolled, and he was looking right at me. But I was able to get about 8 feet from him. And he finally just spread his wings, and he fell. He was probably 7 foot off above the water where he was roosted, really low. I could have grabbed him. There's Wavette. It's good to see you, Wavette, in Northern Illinois, Sasquatch. The Torrid Zone. God bless you guys. Thank you all for being here. Happy New Year to you. Merry Christmas. Merry late Christmas. But anyhow, that's where I got the picture of that owl at. And after he had flew off, he landed about 30 feet from me in the water just for a couple of seconds, and he hopped up and flew on a stump about 10 feet further away, and he caught a fish. I think it was a catfish, pretty big fish. And he sat there eating his fish. It didn't bother him that I was in the swamp, but the feeling I got being watched was him. Once he flew off and I pinned him or seen where he was, and then he flew off, I didn't have that feeling no more. Carrie Sales from Ohio, welcome. Thank you for joining us. But we do have this encounter that was sent to me. The fellow who sent it, he sent it from Australia, but he sent it through Messenger. And most of you guys know that on our Facebook Messenger, the Facebook side, Kim does that. I don't do the Facebook. She does it, and so it's really hard. We tried for about an hour to copy the message that this man sent to Kim's Facebook, and then put it in a document, a Word document of some type, to where I could edit it. It doesn't need much editing at all. There's just a couple of words, and it's very long, but for him to only miss a couple of words is phenomenal. You don't see that often. Usually people miss quite a bit. People like me, I miss a lot. But two of the places, he just misspelled it is all it was. But the way the word that it is, he left a letter out. It can be spoken two different ways and have two completely different meanings. So I can't edit it, and it's way too long to try to copy it over into a message or a worksheet to where I could do the editing. And I had a really rough time doing it. It's much easier when people email it to me, but it's all good. And there's Dee and Martha and Miss Nana. 7 Pearls. Wow, it's good to see you guys. I hope everybody's New Year and Christmas went exceptionally well. 2020 is over, thank God, and we're into a new one. I hope this one turns out far better than the other one did, this past one. But it's all been good. Everything's been good here. And we've had this encounter for a couple of weeks now, I believe, a week and a half or so. But only part of it came through. And on Kim's Messenger, it wasn't an entire encounter. And it finally, I guess it being from Australia to here, it finally worked its way through. Hey, Sandra. I see you guys made it too. That's awesome. But anyhow, what I did is I took a screenshot of the encounter. I pulled it up on the Messenger, and he sent some pictures with it that are just beautiful. Him and his buddies, they go hiking to these waterfalls that are way out in the middle of nowhere, and they enjoy nature. And on this particular day, when they went, they had a lot of things kind of stacked against them in the beginning, and they had an encounter with what they called a yowie. But it's just that it was an amazing encounter. We finally got the rest of it came through 3 days ago, and I've been sitting on it trying to figure out how to transfer it to where I could put it in a better format. I don't know if you guys would be able to see it, but if you see how the words are, it's a picture. So as I'm scrolling, it's moving all over the place, and I have to scroll way down. It's really, really long. But I'm going to share that with you here in just a minute. I think Brother Jeff was messaging me. But that's right. He knows we're live tonight. Discovering Sasquatch. Denise, it's good to see everybody. Absolutely good to see you guys. I just backed out of my screen. Doggone it. Do you want me to go ahead and start with you want to go ahead and get this encounter up? And if any of you guys, if y'all have an encounter, if you have something you'd like to share with us tonight, I can put the link, I believe, to the StreamYard where you can jump over and we can bring you on and let you share your encounter. I believe I can do that. Let me make double sure before I tell you that. I can't. Yes, I can definitely do that. Okay, good deal. But I'll put it up here in a little while. I'll do this encounter, and then I'll post the link. If any of y'all have an encounter you want to share with us tonight, kind of start the new year off with a little different direction, then you can put that link in your browser, and it'll bring you to StreamYards. And the screen that comes up, you may have to grant access to your microphone and your camera. You can do it from your phone if you have a decent signal. And once you grant the access, then you can you test your mic. You'll see yourself on screen, and to the right side of the screen, there'll be a bar, and that's your mic. And just talk or make some sounds and make sure that that thing is, bouncing up and down, that it's hearing you. It's very simple. And then you scroll down, you put in the name that you want shown, like at the bottom of the screen, which you can see what I have down here. Right at the bottom, it's got my name, and whatever name you put in there is the name that's going to show up on under your image on the screen. But I'll put that up here in just a little while. Oh, there's Brother Jeff. He made it. But I want to start this encounter. It's fascinating. All of them are. And this one, they got run off, but nobody was hurt. It was just a fear factor, like it normally is. I'm trying to set this up where I'm not blocking the camera. I think that's all right. Let's see. I guess I'm just going to start it from the top, because he's got a little bit of a. I'd have to find where he actually started the encounter, but I'm just going to start it from the top. He says, "Hi, Donnie. I've seen your interview on Bigfoot Odyssey with Carrie Arnold last week, and I now follow your page and see that you read out other people's encounters with Bigfoot. I thought I would send you the encounter I had with one about 5 years ago, hiking in the rainforest. You and your followers may be interested because I'm not from the United States, but from Australia. Down here, we call them yowies. Like USA, they have been sighted in all of our states, but mostly the East Coast and the more heavily populated areas along the coast. I live in North Queensland in the city of Cairns. It is known worldwide for the Great Barrier Reef just 20 kilometers off our coast and World Heritage rainforest in the mountains behind us. If your followers picture Hawaii, it is similar to that. I am an adventurous person and have camped all my life, and I love the outdoors. I do a lot of hiking in the rainforest. To very hidden waterfalls. About 7 years ago, a group of friends, about 15 of us, tried to do a hike to a spectacular waterfall in the mountains called Canabulin Falls, about a 6-hour hike. Unfortunately, about a few months before, we had a big cyclone hit the area, and a lot of the trees had come down over the track, and we could not get through it to find it. 2 years on, myself and a mate that comes hiking with me decided to give it another go. Unfortunately, the night before, we went to a party and didn't get up until late in the morning, so we had a slow start. It took us 2.5 hours to drive to the trail start. We didn't start till about 1 p.m., which was our first mistake. This meant we would get back just on dark. The track is very narrow, only like a cow trail, and the rainforest is very thick, totally grown over with treetops as well. On the way there were 3 junctions. We got to where the track splits in different directions, and luckily there were handmade signs, and each of them to point in the direction of the falls. We reached the falls after 3 hours of hiking and had a swim, took in the spectacular view of the falls, and had some food. We started on our way back about 4:30 p.m. and tried to walk at a faster pace as we knew it would be getting dark by 6 to 6:30. Our second mistake was we were talking and not concentrating and took a wrong turn at one of the junctions and headed in the wrong direction. After about 30 minutes, we realized we had made a mistake when the trail came to a dead end. We turned around, and by this time it was getting darker, and concerned we were lost. After half an hour, we got back to the junction, and it was there we had to decide either to keep hiking another 2 hours back to the car in the dark, or for a 1-hour hike back to the waterfall and stay the night there, and hike back at first light in the morning. My buddy was not keen at staying the night as we had no tent or blankets, so we decided to keep going by torchlight. We only had one torch in my backpack, so I was in front shining it down at my feet, and so my mate could see the track as well. At this point, I must say, on the hike there, we had crossed paths with a wild boar and piglets, and more scary, cassowary. To describe a cassowary, it is very similar to your ostrich, but only found in our tropical rainforest. They have huge claws on their feet, and if they have young chicks, they will protect them by chasing anyone or anything away by clawing them. People have been killed by them. Luckily, the one we seen about 30 meters ahead didn't have chicks, and when it seen us, it walked off calmly into the rainforest. So we were about 45 minutes from the car park, hiking in the dark, and my mate would say he felt as if something was following us from behind. Every few minutes, I would stop and shine the torch behind us, but there was nothing. He got so scared he asked if he could walk in front of me. We swapped places and kept hiking. Then all of a sudden, the bush next to us just went crazy like we had just scared a bull elephant, and I could see small trees being pushed over to the side of us. We just ran as fast as we could for probably 3 to 4 minutes until we were out of breath. We had no idea what it was, but knew it was big. I thought it could have been a group of pigs in the rainforest that we scared. We caught our breath back and started walking again, and that's when I could hear it following us to the side, maybe 20 to 30 meters away. It was on 2 legs, and I then thought it must be a cassowary. When we stopped to listen for it, it would slow down and stop. We did this 3 times, but it seemed to be getting closer, and my mate was getting really scared. Next thing, a rock about the size of a huge house brick I could hear hitting branches through the trees landed about 3 meters from us. We froze, trying to understand what the heck would be able to throw a rock that size. Then from maybe 10 meters inside the bush next to us, a scream so frickin' scary and loud at us. We had ran like Usain Bolt at the Olympics and just kept running. I heard something big crash through the bush, but we just kept running. Never had time to shine the torch behind me to see what it was. About maybe 10 minutes on, we got to a creek crossing. I shined the torch back when we crossed, but didn't see anything following us. We got to the 4-wheel drive about 20 minutes later, and we were both still shaking and out of breath. The scream will stay with us both till the day that we die. The closest I can describe it to is a Tasmanian devil, but 10 of them at once. It was as loud as a jet engine. Even though I never seen the creature, it had to be a yowie. The only 2-legged animal in the rainforest is a cassowary or a wallaby, but this was bigger. Then to throw a rock the size of a brick and to scream like that, no animal in Australia can do that. That hike put us both out of hiking for about 4 years, but we now are doing smaller ones and on popular tracks and make sure we are back well before dark. And he says, I'll send a few pictures of the track we were hiking and of the waterfall at the end. Please stay safe and well, and best wishes to you and your followers over there. And he signs it Darren. And he sent some pictures, but I have no way to get them from Messenger over to YouTube. But wow, what do you guys think about that? Is that not just frightening? Imagine them being out there in the rainforest and it's solid blackness around you, and then have to deal with one of them things. Well, there's John Arnett, Eminem, Mr. DeVetti, B. Lynn. Yeah, we got a lot of people. There's Chris Jarvis. It's good to see you guys. Oh, absolutely. Pardon me. I'm gonna put this up. Let me put this up for B-Land right quick, if it'll go up. There we go. You guys keep right. I just seen that. She says, "May I ask for prayers, please? I can barely text due to severe full thickness plus partial thickness rotator cuff tearing. Praying for physical therapy will miraculously work and surgery avoided." Amen. Yes, we'll absolutely pray for you here, and you guys in the chat, please pray for Miss B-Lynn. You know, shoulder injuries are horrible. I was never able to get my shoulder replaced, and it ruins your day really quick if you do something stupid like lift your hand up over your head. But yes, Miss B, we'll absolutely pray for you. You know, that's one thing we can all do, and it's free. We don't have to pay for it. That makes things much easier, especially this day and age. The whole world's about profit. Unfortunately, we live in a weird time. Uh-oh. I just seen a message about the Aussies. I'm going to put that up because I don't know. Let me find it. Wheel shucks. And just Linda, it's good to see y'all. God bless you. I think I had. Oh, gee whiz, I must have passed it already. Let me put this up for Linda in the Northern California area. If anyone is in my area and wants to go looking for Big Guy's tracks, let me know. Maybe go as a group from Northern California. And that's Linda S. in the chat. If any of you guys are up there, I know several of you on our channel are from that area. That would be awesome to get a group of you guys together. If I had a group to go with here, I wouldn't be going by myself, but it's not the case, unfortunately. Let's see where. Oh, shoot. Jeff, I can't do nothing about the buzzing. I looked into it with the microphone to go in and make the adjustments. I'm going to have to upgrade to an expensive microphone in order to be able to make those adjustments to get rid of the buzzing and to block out a sound gate or something, and it blocks out all the extra sound. Somebody commented about Australia, and I can't find it now. Let's see if I can. Oh, there it is. Michael. It says Aussies aren't able to carry firearms, are they? I'd much rather be armed in the bush. Yes, absolutely. I don't know, Michael. I have no idea. I've seen a lot of hunting shows back when I used to watch them a lot, and a lot of them, the hunting was in Australia, and they're absolutely using firearms, but using one to hunt and to carry one for protection is, I know over here it's a completely different thing altogether, and I honestly don't know. Maybe if Darren would reach out to me, I'll find out, because that's something I'd like to find out just for my own good. That way, if I go to Australia, I'll know whether or not I want to go in the woods. I'm not going in the woods unarmed. I doubt it's going to help much against these big fellas, but it makes me feel better knowing I got some type of protection. Yeah. Linda says, your beard is growing Bigfoot style. I'll keep it going. Yeah. That's funny. I was just looking at it tonight, too, and it is starting to aggravate me. It's itching, and my hair, I never grow my hair this long. It's about an inch and a half long, and it is irritating the fire out of me. But it's not going to be there much longer. Normally I shave my head. I shave my face and my hair when I make my first harvest during hunting season. And I've already cut my hair, and I have not harvested anything at all. My hunting's been really horrible this year for us. We just haven't had a lot of time with the vehicle situation. Yeah. This is Seven Pearls asked when hurricane blew through, and she's referring to Hurricane Michael. If you guys don't know, we are northeast of Panama City, Florida, and that's where the eye came over at the east end of Panama City in an area called Callaway. And everything from there northeast got destroyed. It was horrible. We lost a lot of our roof. A lot of the trees got destroyed. We lost a bunch of entire trees. Two of them ended up blowing out of the yard, and I don't know where they went. They're not in the yard. They didn't tear the fence down. They're just gone. And they were both were oak trees, pretty large, but I don't know where they went. But Jeff and I was talking about this exact thing. Marianna, Florida was just on the northern edge of the eye wall, of the outer bands of the eye wall, when Hurricane Michael went through. And they took a lot of damage. But where I had my encounter at, that farm, there's 3 caves that I know of that a big man like Jeff could walk into quite easily. There's 3 of them on there. There's a bunch of small ones, but I don't think they'd be able to get into something like that. But that whole area is known for the caverns, the underground caves. And there is a bunch of them out there. They got a state park, and that's what it is, this underground caves called the Mariana Caverns. Applicator 40 asks, how far is Panacea from you? Panacea is, I think it's south of us. Kim is familiar with it. I want to say it's 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours. If you guys look on a map and you pull up Panama City, Florida, and pull up Marianna, Florida, we're kind of in the middle. We're kind of between the two of them is where we're at. When I get the vehicle fixed, I'll be going to Marianna some more. My buddy Corbett Rich, he's in the chat right now, and he's saying the eye went right over his house, and he's got a pretty large piece of property over there and full of large, huge trees, and he's got activity on his property. But it blew, every tree that's out there is either gone or it's just so far damaged. Some of them have survived, but the majority of them are so damaged that they're not surviving. They're not coming back the way they should. A lot of them have died. Yeah, I haven't. Les said he shot 44 squirrels this year. Very mediocre year. I haven't got any of them either. Oh, there's brother Mike Williams. It's good to see you, brother. God bless you. Let me see. Do you guys, if any of you are interested in hopping on, if you have an encounter you want to share with us tonight, just throw a yes or no in the comments there, and I'll post. Post the link. I'll copy the link. I think you'll probably have to. I don't know how you would copy it though to put it in a browser from the chat. I have no idea how you would do that. But if you guys have an encounter you'd like to share with us, or if you have any requests, we do a lot of prayer requests. We do whatever the Lord calls us to do, and if somebody's in need, that's what we're all here for. This is what Patrick's saying. He woke up a grizzly bear one time. I don't want no part of no bears, especially no grizzly bear. I couldn't imagine that. That would be horrible. It's good to see you, Patrick. I'm glad you made it. Uh, let's see oh, I'm going to put that on there. But the torch zone, what he's asking here, in the video, Bigfoot Ambush, there was two parts to it. There was a front-facing camera and the rear-facing camera. And I went in there to get the trail camera, and I had left. I did not pick the camera up that day. And I ended up coming back. I think it was about 2 weeks later. I went back in there to try to find the camera. It was my hunting partner. It was his camera, and I went in there. We kind of take turns swapping out batteries, taking turns. It just helps with the cost, and we're both hunting the same area, so we both benefit from it. And I couldn't find it. And I found there's two of them in there. I did find one of them, and it was where the footsteps took off. If you guys watch that video, on that trail, I had steps that took off on my left side first, and they were crashing. It sounded like they were going away from me. And then I had steps immediately following on the right side of the trail, and they were both, it's all swamp water right there, and they were in the swamp. On the left side, the camera I was after was just 10 feet off of that trail I was on when I heard the steps. I was probably 40 feet from it, but the water was too deep to get over to it without it going over my boots. But I did recover. There's another one a little further down. It's on that left side where I heard the first prints, and I did recover it. And I had a lot of pictures of just black. There was nothing on it, and there was probably 15 or 20 of them that were taken in the middle of the day, and it was black. There's just no picture whatsoever. I have no idea why it messed up like that. Something messed it up. But I brought it home. I cleaned the lens. I cleaned everything on it, and it wasn't bad from sitting out. It had a little bit of pollen on it, but it wasn't dirty. There wasn't anything on it to block the screen out to make it take a black picture. And I ended up taking it up to the property, and I put it out just to test it, because we have a lot of game up there. And I set it out for probably a week, and we had almost 300 pictures, and every picture came out. Every picture was clear in the way it's supposed to be. So I don't know. I don't understand why it did that. My phone, for you guys that don't know, if you've emailed me the last few days, my phone died on me, the new phone. We went out, I was hunting, and sitting in the tree in my hunting stand, I looked back over to one side, and I had a little deer come in behind me. A little old baby buck, had little bitty buttons on top of his head. Well, there was another one with him, and he was behind me, but I can't turn my head to see directly behind me. I have to twist my body, and it makes a lot of noise when you're in a tree stand if you try to twist like that. So I have to wait till they either come around far enough I can see them, or just let them go if they walk away, because I'll scare them off if I twist. Well, I was trying to look as far as I could, and I started hearing a ringing in this ear, a very loud, high-pitched ringing. And I got a sort of like goosebumps, like a static feeling over this side of my face, my neck, and my arm. And so I slowly turned, because I didn't want to scare the deer. And I slowly turned back to where the ringing sound was coming from. And when I got turned this way, then I could hear it in this ear. It was something that was out there. It wasn't in my ear like I thought it was. There was actually something in the environment making that sound. Well, a half hour later, I come out of the tree. The sound didn't last long, probably 40 seconds, maybe. Well, I come down the tree. I took my phone out of the pocket of my vest, and I sent Chris, the guy I hunt with, I sent him a text message. I'm out of the tree. I'm headed to you. He did shoot one that morning. And I put the phone back in my vest pocket. I walked over there, and he was in his stand. We were really close. We hunt quite close together, about 150 yards. And he stayed in the stand, and he pointed where he shot this deer, and it's on a logging road. There's no trees, there's no nothing. It's just an open trail. It's got weeds on it because they only drive on it about every 15 years when they come in there to cut the timber. And so I walked down to the point where he said the deer was standing when he pulled the trigger, and I pulled my phone out to mark it on my GPS, and the screen was off. The phone was dead. Something killed it. And it had 90% charge when I came out of the tree, but I don't know if it's related. That area where I was at when I heard the ringing is about 150 yards from the spot where when I used to walk through it, I had my old trail coming into that area. I quit using it because this one section of it, when you get in it, you'll start getting real dizzy and like you want to fall to one side, like your balance is off, and it'll make you sick to your stomach and you don't know where you're at. And you can hurry up and get through it and you're fine. Or you could back up and go around it, and it seemed to be about 30 or 40 foot in diameter. Just a little area in the planted pine trees, and it's always been like that. And I wasn't far from that, and I don't know if it was related, but anyhow, my phone died. The replacement came finally last night, and I'm still transferring a lot of the videos, the information, the stuff I had on the other phone. The screen wouldn't even come on, and they said the phone was working, but there's two screens in a phone, and I didn't know that. There's a glass one, and below it is another screen, and that's the one that gives you your picture. That's the digital part, and that's what they said broke. But they replaced it under warranty, so I didn't have to pay for that. I just seen D. Let me put that up. It's easier to see on the screen there. Lady in the woods, Donnie, do you get the ear ringing and buzzing when at home still? No, I do not, D. It has been, I don't even remember the last time. It's been a really long time. We used to get it in the back room and in that storage room. You get that ringing. It wasn't loud like what I experienced a few days ago in the woods. I forgot all about the one that was happening here. It was similar to that ringing that I was having here. It was on a far different level. The ringing here, just you get the ringing, and then overall you get a very bizarre feeling. You just didn't feel right, like something was off. The ringing that I got when I was in the woods the other day was you could almost feel electricity. It felt like your hairs were standing up. I had a jacket on, long sleeve shirt, thermals, and a jacket, and it still felt like my hair on my arms and the side of my neck and all was standing up. It was kind of weird. It wasn't scary. It was just strange. I don't know what it is. Where did that go? I seen Michael had posted something on there. Oh, there he is. I'm going to put this up. Michael's saying that, the Native Americans can, say Sasquatch can manipulate the cameras. And I've heard that a lot, and I believe that to be true. I absolutely believe it to be true. We've had some weird stuff. The area where I hunt, we get a lot of activity, and it's always been there. Nothing bad. But if you ever catch on camera, it looks like a shadow coming in. You'll have a photograph, and if you guys are looking at the screen now, it would probably come in about like right there, about that size, and it would be black. It would be a big section of the camera, almost like somebody put a big thumb over the lens. And then the next few pictures they'd just be blacked out. There wouldn't be nothing on them. There wouldn't be a timestamp, a moon phase. There would be nothing on them. Just a black, voided picture. And I showed, last year, I showed one of the guys that I hunt with some of those pictures that we had captured. and I was getting the same thing. It looked like a huge thumb coming in on one side of the screen, and then the next few pictures will be blacked out. And that's the first thing he said. He said, that looks like a hairy thumb, but it's blurry. You can't really make it out. I don't know if that's what it is, but it seems awful peculiar that every time we get that, you can count on the next few pictures not being there. Yeah, Mindy's got a point there. If they can blast infrasound and EMF, they can mess with electronics. Yep, absolutely. I believe that. Oh, there's Pappy and Brett. There's Franklin. It's good to see you. I hope I didn't miss nobody. Where is... I thought I'm just making sure I haven't missed any of you guys. If I did, forgive me. Maybe I didn't. Okay, let me see if... do any of you guys have an encounter you'd like to share with us tonight on here? Would you like to join me on the show? If you would, I'm going to see if I can post that link right here in the chat. I don't know how you would be able to get it in. Let me see if it's even going to let me do it. Yes, it will. All right, I'm going to post this up in the chat, and if you guys, if you have an encounter or something odd that's happened to you out there, if you want to come on the show and share it with the rest of us, I'm going to put it up for you. It's right there, that StreamYard link. And what'll happen, you just have to go and you may have to grant permissions for the microphone and camera, and then when the screen pops up, just test your microphone. There's a little meter right alongside of the picture of you. And then below it, once you verify your microphone's working, you just put your name in. What name do you want people to see on here? And then you hit enter studio, and I'll see you pop up, and I'll pull you up if you have something you'd like to share. We got people that were lined up to come on. Oh, hey, Tracy. It's good to see you. And Polly Rogers. Almost missed Polly. It just went by when I glanced up and see it. But yeah, the people that we had lined up to come on, we didn't have a set date because life is busy for all of us, and YouTube is not where it's not what pays the bills. You know, we all come together and have a good time in each other's company, and we learn a lot about these creatures, and we get to hear about these other encounters, and some of them are extremely frightening. Some of the stuff that people send into us, but it gives us an outlet. And with it being New Year's and Christmas and family, it's just so much going on right now. We can't get everybody in because people have busy lives, but they will come on. We will get them. It's just a matter of when they can make it in their schedule. Oh, we got 7 pearls.
Well, hello, Donnie and everybody. I'm not standing still. I'm kind of antsy, okay? So I'm kind of walking around. But you're talking to AKA 5 Hazel and Donnie. If you'll
Good to see
scroll
you.
up, if you'll scroll up to your email and you'll remember me and you'll remember my email
I know
address.
exactly. Oh yeah, I know exactly.
So you want to talk about my encounter? Maybe I'll sit still long enough for it, okay? I can't promise anything, folks. All right, because, I don't usually go on YouTube, and this is my first debut online, and I wouldn't even do that for Carrie either, okay, by the way. So,
You're
I feel
amongst family
comfortable
here.
talking to you, Donnie, and we'll just make this show, and I know you only have an hour. So, as you know, I have some post-traumatic stress syndrome from it. It
Oh, yeah.
happened when I was a very young girl. I was a teenager. Now, it's somewhat of an unbelievable story, and people never believe you. They just kind of, yeah. You know
Um,
how that goes. All
absolutely.
right. But I'm real glad to see you, Donnie. You're actually seeing
Oh,
me in
likewise.
person. And I'll be draggled, because the holidays, I mean, they really drug me.
Oh, I
I'm
know.
real wore
I
out
think
from it.
they've got us all.
But
Absolutely.
but I'll get to the meat and potatoes, all right. My encounter hasn't really ever been read online. And if it has, I don't know about it. I kind of gave Carrie permission to do it once. And yeah, I have a
Yeah,
hard time sitting down. I'm a little nervous, but I'll try my best to be still. That's
yeah,
tough,
you
okay?
shared parts of it. You shared parts of it with me
Yes,
earlier
sir.
this year, and
Yes, sir.
it's frightening what happened to you when you were in that stand. But nobody else on the channel knows about what you experienced that day, and that's another one of them things that just you don't understand the powers these creatures have until you experience them, and you have, but so many don't. And yeah, absolutely, please share that with us. I think everybody, your family here in the chat, you're in loving hands here. And
Okay. Well, I was I was approximately 15 years old, and I had a favorite patch of woods behind an apartment building that I often played in. And of course, my brothers didn't like me going back there. And they had built a tree stand down one fork of a trail. Down the other fork of the trail, the trail had a main head trail that went in, and one fork went to the right that went to a canal full of moccasins and loggerhead turtles. And I had a favorite sitting tree there. But, I decided to take the left fork one day. It was a nice fall day. And I went down that trail and I crawled up onto the stand. Now, that stand was just a 4x8 sheet of plywood nailed up into the woods. And I was sitting there, and, I was an ornery juvenile, and I was smoking a cigarette, and I didn't hear anything. There was leaves falling from the trees. It was quiet. And all of a sudden, um, now you have to imagine a 4x8 sheet of plywood. Okay. It's
oh,
about 8 foot up in the trees. And I'm sitting there and I'm sitting cross legged. And all of a sudden, I was knocked off that tree stand and I landed about 10 foot backwards on the ground. I never saw what hit me. I just knew, I was almost seeing stars when I hit the ground.
and you were in the center of a 4 foot by 8 foot sheet of plywood, 8 foot in the air.
That's right. And and
Something.
and the 8 foot, I was in the center. And I'm only 5 foot, 5 foot 1.5 now, but um sitting on a piece of plywood, if you just fall over backwards and you're in the center and the length of that plywood is the 8 foot and you're in the center,
Yeah, you're
there's
not
no
going anywhere.
you're not going anywhere. So I mean, I didn't pass out and I hit the ground and I got up, I went home. So the next night I decided, well, I was a little curious. I'm a kid, I was curious.
Oh yeah.
So I go back into the woods the next night. Now, mind you, this is in the middle of a city, and it's a
Yeah.
canal that runs through the middle of a city. And yes, it has woods on either side, subdivisions on either side, traffic, and not more than a quarter of a mile away. You've got city sounds. You've got an airport that's not too far away. But I go down the right trail and I was sitting on my favorite tree and I could kick back on it and relax. And yeah, I was smoking another cigarette. But um all of a sudden, all the the other trail that went down where the tree stand was, that was a good that was over a football length away. Okay.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah,
there's only
over
one
100
way
yards.
out of those woods that's a decent way out of those woods, and that's the main header trail. So I'm sitting on that log, and I'm all kicked back in the tree on my favorite tree. And of course, yeah, there's a canal full of moccasins and loggerhead turtles behind me. You know.
Oh, yeah.
um, at any rate, all of a sudden, clear back to that tree stand, I'm hearing, and I'm hearing branches this big around pop. Okay,
Oh, wow.
I'm hearing branches go crack, and it's one swift move, and I'm hearing ha crack ha, and it's coming my way, and it's coming
Wow.
up the main trail, and there's only one way out of these woods, and I am
Oh,
paralyzed on that tree, and I kept hearing him come, and I kept hearing him breathe, and I call it a grunt growl. Okay, grunt
oh, yeah.
growl, snap a branch. And he was coming, and this wasn't small branches I was hearing, and he was definitely not too happy about I was in the woods. Okay,
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm sitting there on that tree, and I'm 15 or so. I'm scared out of my ever loving mind. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I can't make a run to the main header trail because whatever's coming's bigger than me, obviously. And I didn't know what it was.
And he was coming down the trail toward you, right?
He come down the main
Wow.
the trail from the tree stand to the main part of the trail. Okay,
Wow.
where it forks off to the canal or forks off to go home to where I lived. And, I was petrified, just badly petrified. My only alternatives was to jump a canal full of moccasins and turtles and head that way, or run down the canal bank to a subdivision that was at least a quarter of a mile away through thick briars and brush and them old those old branches that the old briars in the south. We got
Oh,
branches with big thorns on them, thickets.
yeah.
Okay, I
The
don't want
mayhaw branches. Yeah.
right, and I'm a little nervous, guys, and yeah, my camera's fluttering around. You have to excuse me. I don't
Oh,
usually
you're
come.
you're fine. You're
Okay,
fine.
but I'm sitting there on that tree branch, and I'm hearing all that come at me. And yes, Donnie, that's post traumatic stress syndrome. I will never forget that grunt growl snap
Oh, no,
coming.
no,
It
absolutely not.
it got. I heard it get to the main trail. Okay, to where it had to branch off to come to me, or it was going towards my house, and I knew I was
Wow.
trapped. And within and that was only like 50 feet from me. Okay, and
Holy mackerel.
the way the trail curved around and went to the canal, you couldn't see through the trees and the brush to see what was coming. You could
Oh,
only hear
jeez.
it. And he stopped right there. And then within the blink of an eye, he was standing 8 feet away from me,
Jeez.
approximately 8 feet away from me. And I'm only 5 foot two at that time. And I looked up as far as my neck could stretch, looked him straight in the eye, and his eyes were glowing really red. Yes, he was covered from hair to toe. No, I don't remember smelling any dad burn thing because I was flying on top of air down through the briars and the thickets,
Oh, yeah.
down the canal bank by then. Had he
Wow.
wanted to get me, he could have reached out and got me.
Yeah.
But, I got home. It took me, I had to go through a subdivision, then walk a city main road, then all the way down another road to get back to where I lived. And
Wow.
I was in shock. I hit my home. I made it to the couch. I was bloody from head to toe. My brothers looked at me and they said, "What happened to you?" And I couldn't talk. I was in shock. It took
Oh,
me
of
about an
course.
hour to look them in the eyes and say, "I saw Sasquatch." And they laughed so hard.
Oh, yeah.
Neither one of them believed me. They laughed so hard. And recently I had contacted one of my brothers and I told him, you shouldn't have laughed at me so hard when I was a kid for seeing Sasquatch. And he looked at me and he said, well, little sis, after what I've seen traveling around the woods 40 miles north of where I live right now, he lives 40 miles northwest of me where you pipe sunlight in.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, he's in the woods. And he said, he apologized to me because
Oh, good deal.
he himself nowadays lives in a trailer, okay, and cocks his gun and puts it by the door and sleeps with the gun by his bed every night. They won't go out and build fires at night anymore because they've heard and seen too much. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
But it was nice to know finally one of my family members actually believed me. Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
I
I wanted
know
to ask you.
I've
Um,
raced through this encounter, as fast as I could to save you time, Donnie.
oh, yeah, you're fine. We just. Um, I went ahead and bit the bullet a couple of months ago, and I'm paying to be able to do this. But it's important to get people's messages out to what they've encountered, and that's what gave me my freedom back when I finally shared mine. And thank God, Wes Germer from Sasquatch Chronicles, he was the one that was the beginning of me reclaiming my life, what they took from me. And I know what it's like to hold that mess in and treated for PTSD from it from 2011. And it's a nightmare. And people that haven't encountered them don't understand that. The reality of just seeing something that large is it does something to you. It scars you internally, and it never goes away. Um,
Well, as a kid, I shuck that off. And when I was in my 30s, I liked to go camping, and I had a favorite river I'd go camping on. And that was my solitude. I mean, I would just
oh
take my
yeah,
tent and I'd go out to my favorite river and I'd camp. But I normally camped where the road was and closer
yeah,
to the beach of the river. Well, one night I decided, well, I'm just going to trot on. Nobody was at the camp. Okay. Nobody was at the river, and it has a locked gate. It used to belong to a hunting lease. Okay.
oh right,
And the lady, she locks, you have a key to get in and out of the gate. Well, I didn't have a key, but she let me pay and get in and camp anyway. And so
yeah.
I went down the riverbank. Now, this is a riverbank that I could run day or night on the rocks up and down it. Knew it like the back of my hand. Okay.
Oh yeah,
And I decided, well, I'm just going to trot on down to the rapids, little bitty rapids. I mean, you can't call them rapids, but I decided I was going to camp on the riverbank. I was high up on the bank and I was under a tree, so I didn't build a fire that night. And no sooner than I decided I was going to lay down and go to sleep, all of a sudden I had something poke my tent, and it was
wow.
a hand.
Oh,
And
you
I knew
seen it?
exactly what it was. I mean, you sense that it's that fear they instill in you.
Yeah,
You sense what is around you. And
yeah.
I tell you what, yeah, I was a smoker and I chain smoked all night long, was grateful I had plenty of cigarettes. I
Yeah,
had a
absolutely.
flashlight. No, I didn't have a gun. No, I had a pocket knife. Okay, and I'm debating all night long. Well, okay, do I make a run down this riverbank? Do I pop out of my tent and run down the riverbank to my vehicle? And I was just too scared to do that because I knew whatever it was, I knew it wasn't far and it was watching me.
Oh
And I
yeah,
want you to
yeah.
know that at that time, what was odd is to be in a place you've known most of your life. There's not a cricket, and it was like 500 feet or so away from a bog where the river floods over and makes a little
Oh
marshy
wow.
area.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
full of the southern
right.
frogs and all that mess.
Yeah. So, and
Wow.
I'm not hearing frogs. I'm not hearing crickets. I'm not hearing an occasional whippoorwill. I'm
Wow.
hearing nothing all night. It was dead silence. It was
Wow.
mortifying dead silence all night. And I'm thinking, okay, well, you're here. You
Yeah.
know, they haven't decided to scoop you up yet, but no sooner than daylight came, okay, I still couldn't hear anything. No morning
Oh,
birds chirping, Donnie, nothing. And that, oh man, I'd already had a night of it and still not hearing natural sounds that I was used to
yeah.
and
Could
born
you
and
feel
raised
them
to hear.
by
And
morning?
I literally grabbed my backpack, okay, and my tin up all in one hand. And I hauled butt all the way down that riverbank to my
Heck
car.
yes.
And I sat in my car because I still had to wait 2.5 hours for the lady to come open the gate. And I
Oh,
never
see.
went camping alone ever again.
Well, I
And
haven't been
so,
camping at
yeah.
all since my encounter. I have not been camping since,
And,
and I'm not going.
and,
That's all
and it
there is.
seems it seems the older I get, the less bolder I am.
Yeah, I think it's with all of us, and I've always heard when I was younger that age and wisdom come hand in hand, and I think I got it backwards. For me, the older I get, the more ignorant I get, and I'm going in the woods by myself after the encounter I had, and I never done that for years after the encounter, but thank God the Lord's been watching over me and blessed me. There's something I wanted to ask you on your first encounter, not where you were hit, when you were on the tree and you were laid back, and when he was coming to you and he was snatching the limbs off and doing that grunt and that growl sound. Uh, you said within seconds he was right there on top of you. Did
Yeah.
he leap? Did he jump? Or
All I know is he just appeared right in front of me. I was 15. I didn't think to look up to see how he landed there. All I
oh
know
wow,
is to come down that trail. That was about 50 foot, Donnie.
wow,
You can't you can't you can't come 50 foot like that.
no, not
It's
not
impossible.
not anything
But
I know of.
it's caused me to deduce that, okay, they're naturalists in the woods, and number two, either they use trees like Tarzan, okay, I
Oh yeah,
believe they use trees to cover
yes,
their tracks,
I do too.
okay. So I really believe they're quite acrobats and gymnasts as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, oh,
Or Donnie, there's always the alternative of, there's some that believe, well, hey, this is powers of the fallen, and they're exercising those powers. And being as we don't have all the answers, we
right,
can only speculate how they do that.
that's right.
Now, how I was hit when I was on that tree stand, I never saw what hit me. There wasn't a mark on me except the knot on the back of my head.
Well, when you first had told me about that earlier, I think it was near the beginning of 2020. It was early in 2020 when you explained to me how high you were and you were hit and knocked off of it without ever seeing it. The
Right.
first,
How does something that, I'm 8 foot up and I'm sitting
yeah,
cross-legged. I'm only 5 foot, and I guess the upper part of my body, I guess that's 2.5 foot. You want to deduce that. So that means whatever hit me had to just be able to reach up and go,
yeah, to be able
or,
to reach right over at you, and that's what.
but I
What,
never saw a hand hit me. I was coherent. I didn't pass out the whole time.
now, were you
That's
hitting the
that's
back or were you hitting the chest?
no, from the front. I landed on
Wow,
my solid back and head with my legs up
wow,
in the air. I was hit hard. It's a
yeah.
wonder I'm alive. Okay,
I know you
as
said
hard
it
as I
knocked
was
the
hit.
wind out of you for a while.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
wow, that's hard to
Exactly.
imagine. And that's one of the things you hear so much of is their speed, how fast. And I've seen them duck down before. I haven't seen them swing at me or anything like that, but I've seen them uh, when they're behind stuff, and you know where they're at. You can feel them. You get this weird sensation, and you know where they're at, a general area. And if you scan that area, when you finally pinpoint where he's at, if you can see him, I don't. It's probably 1 out of 10 times I'll actually see where he's at. If he's behind something, he'll duck down, but it's so fast it looks like it's like a flash. It's supernaturally fast, and it's creepy to see something move with that kind of speed. And um, I didn't think you could squat down, but as fast as gravity would allow. And these things, it's just a millisecond, and they'll squat, and you're not seeing nothing of them. And for them to be able to squat that fast, it's unimaginable to think what kind of speed they would have to swing at you and knock these trees over. And that's frightening.
Well, and I've talked with Carl Gautreaux, and he lives, him and his wife live over in Louisiana. They've had several encounters themselves. And, I really think that they travel the ancient routes they used to travel before civilization was established.
Oh,
And that
right.
they travel through cities via rivers, riverbanks. I really think Carl had something when he said that, because why? Because that first encounter of mine, my gosh, you can hear the fire trucks, you can hear the police, you can hear the traffic.
Well,
You know,
just
so
right in
so
the
what I
city.
know, they're not afraid of civilization at all.
No.
And I get really, it's perplexing, because a lot of people think you got to go far out in the woods to see one. And I'm one person that knows, no, that might not exactly be so.
No, absolutely. And it's I wanted to ask you, and we never really discussed it before. Uh, After you've had more than one encounter with them now, do you feel that you are somehow marked or tagged by them, that they know who you are when you go out? If you're in areas
Well,
where you assume they're at.
I believe they're highly intelligent, and we
Yeah.
might be intuitive creatures ourselves. Okay, we're intuitive creations,
Oh,
Donnie.
yeah.
Okay, but um, all animals know how to, they smell scents. They know what it
Yeah.
is.
And they
They
pick up on your
can
spirit.
identify any scent there is.
Oh, yeah.
The animals know. And a lot of people want to say, "Oh, that's the beast of the woods, and that's an animal." Well, okay, they have hands, they have eyes, they can vocalize. And another
Yeah.
thing about that first encounter, I want to say, this one had canines. Okay, this was
Wow.
not a dog. He did not have a pointed snout. This one had canines. And when he glared at me with those big red glowing eyes, I saw those teeth. And no, those weren't
Wow.
little chitlet teeth. And I've talked to a few other people, and I think one of them kind of dubbed it as a Genowaska. I can't pronounce that name, okay? A friend I've spoken with. And
Yeah.
that's the more, and they classify that as saying there's four types. And, yeah, that's one of the most violent types, okay?
Oh,
But
geez.
those are usually, spotted where there's snow and up where north, well north. So what's one that looks like that? That's brownish black from head to toe. What's one like that? Do it all the way in South Mississippi.
Well, I spoke to a man that had a run in with one in Central Florida. The same thing, and he said the what stood out on him was the teeth, and he said the canines were. It wasn't that they were large like a dog. He said they were abnormally large, like uh, when you see on the Animal Planet when these gorillas would yawn and they got these massive
Yeah.
canines. He said they were like 3 inches long, and he
Yes,
got
Don.
all up in his face and screaming at him, and
That's
he was
exactly
scared
what
for his
I
life.
saw, and I'm so glad it didn't decide to grunt growl because I was flying on top of air by the time I looked at what I saw. And no, I didn't.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm just blessed that the good Lord let me live through that encounter, because what
Oh
I've been
yeah.
told about these kind that are snapping branches that big coming at you, and they're bound and determined they're going to stand in front of you. Most people don't survive those sort of encounters. Those are the ones that
Oh
end
right.
up on 411. You know?
Oh, I believe it. I mean, they have canines for a reason, and canines are for meat eaters. You know, and the way I grew up learning, I may be wrong on that, but we have one of our family here on the channel. He's got his own channel. He's got a lot that he does. Extremely knowledge in the different types of the Sasquatch, and Ryan, and we're trying to get it lined up. He's going to come on and he's going to share what he knows about the different varieties of them, and just a whole pile of different type of creatures. And he also has a lot of encounters, and we're just waiting to where he has time that he can come on and do that. The day we had scheduled, he hurt his
Well,
back
gee,
again.
maybe I'll fluff up next time and I won't look like I've been hunting all day, huh?
Oh, that's always a good look. We like the hunting look. Uh, I just, if you've seen what I was wearing right now, I'm ready for bed, literally. But I wanted to get comfortable, and I carry accessories on my belt, and they get pretty heavy by the end of the day. So I'd get in my PJs tonight.
Well, and Donnie, I'm in agreement with a lot of people. They're out there, okay,
Yeah,
and yes, use precaution, okay,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
yes, Donnie, I think they do tag the people that they've actually looked eye to eye. I think they know each individual scent.
I think so too.
Just like a mama cat knows all her kittens. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
they're too smart.
That's the only
And
thing that makes sense. And Jeff Townsend, I'm sure you see him in the chat now. He's my buddy. We do a lot together. Him and I talk about that a lot. And there's something that they're doing supernaturally, that they know who we are.
yes, sir.
The area where I hunt, I've gotten a lot of activity out there throughout the past 4 or 5 years. The two men I hunt with never seen anything, but one of them this year, I did shoot a deer. We had to get the dog. We let him lay. We went. It got dark on us. So we left. We didn't keep trailing. Next morning, I brought the dog out there, and to make a long story short, the dog followed the scent all the way to a fallen pine tree, a large, very, very big in diameter pine tree. The scent stopped right there, and the arrow that was inside that deer was laid on top of that log. Something pulled it out and laid it up there, and the deer was
Ooh.
gone. The following week, the guy I hunt with,
Ooh.
he shot one at
That's a little
very
much.
close with a 50 caliber, and he's never missed. I hunt with him regularly, and this guy, if he pulls the trigger, there's meat going home. He's just an amazing shot. And we go over there, there's hair, there's blood. I mean, a good hit, a good solid hit. We followed the blood trail. This was an hour after he pulled the trigger, and it just stops. Big pile of blood, no tracks leaving. The deer's gone. We never found it. We walked 4 hours looking for it and never found it.
My brother, he knows he nailed a deer up in the Ozarks when we were there. There was no blood. He couldn't find a blood trail anywhere. And the deer
Right.
he nailed, he was standing at the house when he nailed it, and that deer was only across a 5-acre field
Oh,
when he
wow.
hit it,
A
and he
couple
fell.
hundred
And
feet
when
at
he went
best.
to go get it, nowhere to be found. Not a blood trail, not nothing. Still can't explain it to this day.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
Donnie, I'd really like to greet your audience. Hello, I am the old AKA Five Hazel that used to
yeah.
mod on Bigfoot Odyssey, folks. And yes, I don't usually appear on video, but being as, Donnie is special to me because
Thank you.
Donnie has taken a lot of time to listen to my encounter. And
Oh
what
yeah.
it is I really know that a lot of what Donnie has seen, I myself have seen. And
Oh,
so
amen.
you find, and it's not that, Carrie didn't see what he saw. Okay. I just feel more comfortable talking with Donnie. Okay. And
Oh yeah.
thank you, Kim.
Well,
I respect you too.
yeah, she's in there somewhere. Yeah, I'm glad you come on. Absolutely. And yeah, you guys that don't know her, she's been with us for a long time. Uh,
Yes, but
and
I'm camera shy and skittish and can't hold the phone still.
and you do better than I did when the first my first year of filming was horrible. I got so many messages about people getting seasick, and I wasn't familiar with filming. My technology was introduced to me in 2013, and so I had kind of a short time frame to try to learn all this stuff. But it's all good. We're glad you're here.
And
You know, we
my biggest message to people is, listen to your gut instinct.
amen, amen.
No matter where you are, if you have an uneasy feeling, it is time to clear the area.
Yeah, there's a
Um,
reason for it. Yes.
Curiosity can kill the cat, but you know, I was hauling butt over the top of briars and branches and flying on adrenaline trying to get home that night. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
and as a kid, you might be pretty good at playing Superman,
Yeah.
but when you're adults, I mean, you can back over a log, you can have something impaled into you rather quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, when you're scared and
Absolutely.
frightened and running, and so yeah, when you have a not good feeling, gee, you've decided to camp somewhere or drive up somewhere, listen to your instinct.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
just
Absolutely. And I can't agree with you enough on there. And that's Jeff gets on to me a lot, and he's like a bigger brother, and he worries about me. And I love Jeff to death. He's always there. I can call him any time of any day, and he's there. But
Well,
he's always
Donnie, a lot of times in your videos, I have noticed the fear in your voice, and I really can't blame you. I understand you're trying to conquer it, and yes, you're trying to overcome it, and kudos to you. All
I
right,
leave though when it gets to the point that I can feel it. Um, to what I for me I got the gut feeling, and then I get that one in my spirit where it starts filling up here, and that's when I turn. I get out of there. That's when it's going to be bad if I pursue it.
that's
And I've
that tap
learned
on the shoulder. Yes, sir.
the gut feeling for me is keep the alert up. Stay on alert, pay attention, and when it starts getting up into that spirit zone up here, it's time for me to turn, go the other way, or go home. Um, looks like we got Pappy popped in. I wonder if he's.
Aw.
Let me see if he's there. If he's there, we see if I can add him in right quick.
Oh, Pappy.
Let me see. Pappy, are you there, buddy? Oh, okay. He'll try it again. Um, yeah, I'm so grateful that you come on. I can't thank you enough for that. This is uh, what I had lined up to happen between the 26th and last night was I had a couple interviews lined up, and they didn't pan out yet. They will, but due to uncontrollable circumstances, they couldn't make it on, and one of them actually hurt himself. And so, but it's all good. We'll get them on,
Donnie,
no problem.
I was just kind of tapped on the shoulder, and I really know you've wanted an opportunity to talk with me and maybe face to face. And
Oh
so,
yeah,
Here my
Absolutely.
ugly mug is tonight.
Oh no, you are fine. You are absolutely fine. There he is, Pappy.
Can you
Aho,
hear me, Donnie?
Pappy.
We got you. How you doing, brother?
Not bad at all. I'm glad to meet everybody here tonight. Hi, Seven Pearls or Five Hazel. I know you by both.
Yes,
Want to
sir.
wish everybody a happy new year.
Oh, thank you. Happy New Year to you.
You're
Always.
And for everyone that doesn't
thank
know,
you.
aho is a Native American greeting of respect, acknowledgement.
I hope, yeah.
Aho.
Wash day.
Oh,
Happy day.
Yes, absolutely. And Pappy's part of our family here. He's been with me from the beginning, and there's been a lot of guidance from Pappy, and I know him on a personal basis, and it was through the channel. But my creator led me to Pappy, and we bound from the beginning, and he's been so substantial in me getting to where I'm at right now, and I'm so grateful for him. Thank you for being here. It's just it surprised me when I seen your name pop up. I said, "Oh, Pappy, it can't be Pappy. It must have been an accident." And it didn't go through at first, but then I seen you pop back on. Thank you so much. Well, what do you think, Pappy, about
Well,
go ahead, sir.
the way this internet works, I'm surprised I'm still on with y'all, to tell you the truth.
Oh, that's no problem. Certainly can't be no worse than what I've been through, what you guys have experienced with me. But yeah, did you
Well, I'm
hear
going to tell
all?
you, you
Yes,
were
sir.
getting ready to ask me about her encounter, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Want your
Well,
input
I'll tell
on
you
it?
what. I'm going to tell you something. For a little bitty gal like that,
Oh,
Oh, we lost him. Come back, Peppy. It's
yeah,
such an
he'll come
honor to
back.
meet him.
Yeah, he'll come back. His internet connection may be slow.
Okay. All right, guys.
Oh, there
Yes,
he is.
yes, for a little bitty gal like me, folks. Yes,
There he
indeed.
is.
yeah,
We
this is
got
my
him back.
awful sketchy. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, but what I was saying is that the type of experience you had, your britches hold a heck of a lot more than mine would have. I'll tell you.
Oh, amen.
Oh,
Amen.
Pappy, I can't give the honor except to Creator that I'm alive. Okay.
Yes,
I
absolutely. There's
Yep.
so much
that
truth to that.
There's just so many things out in the world that people don't stop to think about. And
oh, Pappy, come back. I need his advice, Donnie. That's a very wise person.
Oh, he is
I've
absolutely,
waited a
and
long time to meet Pappy.
yeah, he'll come back. Pappy is an amazing man, and there you go, buddy.
well, I'm gonna drop out, but I just wanted to drop in here. I was gonna relay to you an encounter story from somebody within my family.
Oh wow.
But what I'm going to do with the internet being the way it is, Donnie, I'm going to send that to you in an email.
Okay.
Okay, and it's called the Sniffing Snooper.
Okay.
And as you know, where I live is not really where I'm from. I'm from far northern New York, up by Canada.
Yes, sir.
And these big guys, we've had a history of them up there for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And growing up in the country and stuff, and knowing what I know now, it's obvious to me that I've had some brush-ins before. But
Oh yeah.
my brother lives off grid up there in the Adirondacks, which is
Wow.
6.1 million square acres of just natural.
Wow. Wow.
Well, I'll be glad when he mails that in. I sure want to hear it, Donnie.
Well, oh, I'll absolutely. The day it comes in, there he is. Um, there you go, Pappy.
Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna email you the encounter with the instructions that he sent along with it, so that you can read that at a future time. And I'm not going to waste anybody else's time trying to talk any longer on my internet connection here. But Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
The year is what you put into it, and what you put into it, put in good stuff, okay, and see the good in everything. There's always bad in life, but it's the good stuff in life we need to remember.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you so much, brother, and Happy New Year to you.
God bless y'all. I'm going to jump back into chat.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Pappy.
Such an honor to just see his face. Thank you so much, Pappy.
I think everybody in the chat knows Pappy, and you know, Pappy's the man. I'm crazy about him, and there's times that I was dealing with stuff here, you know, in a personal way, and I reached out to Pappy, and we spoke for over 2 hours, and to say that man is full of wisdom is an understatement. He is absolutely loaded, and it's just, you have problems, Pappy's the man to talk to. And I don't know how else to say that. He's a blessing, and I am beyond blessed to have someone like that as part of my family, and I'm so thankful for him and all of you guys.
Donnie, I have a few questions about your lights around your house. And, you know, Jeff, you know, you let me know that, you know, as viewers, we know that you've tapped up some lights. So bring me up to speed on what you've done to keep them at bay from your house.
Actually, it ended up being really simple. Mark from Livewire, he reached out to me, and they were banging on the end of the house. I mean, we were, whenever you were talking about being on the platform and getting knocked off, the first time you had told me that earlier 2020, we had went outside, and it was right after one of the last times I replaced the light bulbs, and I went outside to check them. And I seen something on the roof, and the roof's really high. It's about 9 foot on that end. And I seen something up. We have a roof coming from the road at an angle. If I get in front of the camera, it comes like at an angle, but there's another one that meets it here. So it's like a little valley area that goes to the peak of the roof. The house is sort of L-shaped right there. And so it makes a valley. And I seen something laid up there. And I backed out in the yard, and I buy telephone poles from the power company, and we cut them up into 10-foot sections, and we use them as fence poles. Well, some of them, when you get your 10-foot sections, you're stuck with about a 3 or 4 foot piece of it left. And so it was about a 3 to 4 foot section of a 12-inch diameter telephone pole, and I don't know, 60 or 70 pounds, and it was on the roof. And now this was after Hurricane Michael. This was just a year and a half ago. But Jeff was saying, you know, easy, because I couldn't figure out how did it get up there. I don't have a way to get on the roof. I don't own a ladder. How am I going to get it down? And I had to pull the truck all the way up against the house and take my 6-foot step ladder, put it in the back of the truck on 2 plastic chain boxes to be able to get high enough to get on the roof. And I went over to pick that log up, and I ended up taking my foot and pushing it off the side. It was just more than what my back could handle. It was really heavy. But there was no damage to the shingles. It wasn't thrown. It was literally like somebody grabbed it and just reached up and set it on the roof. And when you were the first time you told me about being knocked off that platform and how high you were, I remembered that pole being on the roof, and I thought, wow, you know, Jeff was telling me with that, his head would have to be taller than the 9-foot roof to reach that pole up as far as it was laid up there. And there's not a ding in the shingle. And when you were explaining how you were knocked off that plywood at that height, you got to figure that creature that hit you, his armpit would have had to have been even with that platform for him to have his arm, you know, to be able to swing and hit you with that force. And that's a big fellow to be right there on top of you.
It was lightning fast. I didn't even
Yeah.
see what was coming. And my eyes were directly in front of me. I was watching leaves fall gently from the trees down to the
Wow.
ground. And I was peaceful and I was happy and it was a normal day. And I didn't have sense in my head to sense the woods were quiet. I just heard, leaves doing their normal thing. It was
Oh,
all very mellow and happy before all of a sudden, whoo, and I'm 10 foot backwards on the ground and my legs flew straight up in the air and I had a knot on my head. And no, I wasn't exactly seeing stars, but it did knock the breath out of me.
oh yeah.
And I didn't know what hit me.
Wow. And it takes a
So,
lot to knock
so
you
I
down.
don't know how it hit me.
I'm wondering if it wasn't beside you the whole time, next to the tree, and maybe it was just dark enough that you didn't see him. Maybe he was standing there motionless, and you got up there and got to dazing off, and he just kind of backhanded you off. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't.
I don't know.
It's hard to imagine.
To this day, I am just as perplexed as anybody I tell that story to.
Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
never
And
be able to figure out how that happened.
that
And
is,
it's something you scratch your head about all your life.
yeah,
And
absolutely. I just to have something like that happen. I mean, I had nightmares for years, and I still do every once in a while from my encounter. But I wasn't hit. He didn't touch me, but he was just close. He was up in my face, and that was enough. I don't.
it wasn't too long ago that, I'm living where I live now. And it wasn't too long ago that I was home alone. I mean, I have a son, but he wasn't here. And all of a sudden, I heard something slam one side of my house. Wham! And
Wow.
this is by my bedroom window. Slammed
Ooh,
one of my bedroom windows, then came around and slammed another one of my, and it wasn't the window itself, it was the house. And it's an older
yeah.
wooden house. And I mean, the whole house trembled.
Wow.
Wham! My blinds fell out of my window, okay, on the north side of my bedroom. And then
Wow.
it come around and slammed the other side. And I just said, in the name of Jesus, leave my yard, leave my presence. If you do not swear in your eternal allegiance to Jesus Christ, my Savior and Lord, right now, and
Yep.
bow, you will eventually bow for him eventually, and you're going to hell, and you know it.
Oh yeah.
And,
Every head will bow.
and it was dead silence, and that's the last time that happened. So there's a lot of people who know that they can use the power of their faith in the Lord to
Yeah.
ward
Yeah.
these off. Okay.
Well,
I believe
one of the things Jeff had said, him and I talk about this all the time because I've had so many encounters with these things, and I
I
don't
just don't
like it.
know why they had to come visit me after all these years. When something slams your house that hard and you're laying in your bed and you're not
Yeah,
asleep,
to get your
okay?
attention, let you know I'm here. I'm still here.
Well, prior to that, I guess it was a few weeks prior to that, my son was out riding his bike in the yard. It's a big, huge 2-acre yard. Okay. He's a special needs young man.
Oh yeah.
And he loves riding his bike at night. Okay. In the moonlight. And yeah. Um, all of a sudden, and keep in mind, I'm barely out of the city limits. Okay. I'm one house away from being zone county. Okay.
Wow.
But nonetheless, there's woods all the way around me, a river that's not too far away, riverbanks. But all of a sudden, I was sitting at my dining room table. The windows were closed. But I can see my son out in the yard riding his bike. Okay, I'm a good mom.
Oh yeah.
All of a sudden, I hear it. It was a. Ah! Sorry
Wow.
about that. Didn't mean to upset you, puppy. I'm a little graphic.
Yeah, they're on the
And
other room.
I'm sitting at the dining room table, And I know what I just heard. And I go outside and I get to my son. And now we're dealing with a 24-year-old autist. He's autistic, special needs, pretty
Oh,
highly
yeah.
functional. Okay. And I looked at him and I said, "Son, did you hear that?" He said, "Yeah, Mom, I did." I said, mind you, we heard this over the top of traffic going down the road.
Wow.
Okay. And I'm in the house with the doors closed and heard it. It
Wow.
vibrated my dad burned house. And I asked my son, you know, he doesn't know to fear, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I said, "Did you see anything?" He said, "No, Mama." I said, do you think that was dogs?" "No, Mama, that wasn't dogs." Now this is coming from a special needs person
Wow.
telling me this. I said, "What did you hear? Can you tell me what you heard?" He said, "Yeah, Mom, it went ah." And he said, "And I didn't like it." I said, "Well,
Wow.
that's all right. Just come on in now, okay?"
Did he see it? Um,
No,
oh,
no.
good. Good.
And whatever did it had to be at least a quarter mile off. It
Gee whiz.
it you know, and I asked a few people, you know, around here. I said, "Did y'all by any chance here?" A lot of people are living in brick homes around here. Of course, they can't hear nothing inside.
No, I
And
don't, we hear it through ours.
okay, well, yeah. So why, you know, I nobody else is talking about it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you act like it ain't there, it goes away in some people's mind.
One morning I woke up, and I love to wake up. And one night it was in the middle of the night, and I woke up. I guess it was 3 or so in the morning. I don't know. And I looked out my porch door, and I'm seeing a whole herd of deer, you know, in my yard, which is nothing new. They do travel this yard.
Oh yeah.
And at any rate, I go back to bed, and I get up in the morning, and it's daylight. Now, think about this, you guys that are hunters. It's daylight, and I have 3 deer standing in my yard. Okay? And they're just standing there. I open my screen door, and I'm not more than 200 and 300 feet from these 3 deer. And they're not budging a bit. And I mean not budging a bit. And they looked
Something
at
scared
me.
them out of
They
the woods.
looked at me, and then they didn't want to move to run off to the next nearest patch of woods there is.
Wow.
So that does make a person wonder, you know, watch the animals, folks. They have a lot to
Oh
say.
yeah.
If they're afraid, there's a predator somewhere.
Yeah. Especially if they're being hunted, and they got that one little safe zone of your yard, and face the human or face this thing. Wow.
Well,
That's
Donnie,
crazy.
I really appreciate your time this evening.
Oh,
And
thank you.
for those of you that are tired of me dodging all over the camera, look, I'm camera shy. People been trying to coax me to come on and talk about this for, I don't know, probably years now.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I can vouch for that, because you and
Well,
I
I'm
talked about
not
that
in it
same
for the
thing.
money, the glory, or the fame. Okay. It's just not it. But that being said, I'll hypocritical say that if you have an encounter, tap up Standing Goats Rescue at outlook.com, and
Thank you.
please help him out with the goats. He does a great job, y'all. Okay. He
Thank
really
you so
does.
much. Thank you. And I just
And if
thank
you
you for
can't
joining
find
me.
an email address, all you got to do is close chat, hit the little down arrow on your screen, and you will see Standing Goats Rescue's email right there.
Yes,
And Donnie
absolutely.
is such a great person to talk to, folks.
Thank you.
He'll give you time. Don't be shy. If I can do it, anybody can do it, okay?
That's right. That's right. And I know for a fact that there's been several trying to get you on for a long time, and you've always stayed kind of back in your own little corner there. And
Well, it's because
I
I
feel
saw one
blessed
of the
that you
more
can.
violent ones, Donnie, is what it is. And You know, I've been told most people that do don't live to tell the story.
That's right. That's right. I'm glad you did, and I'm glad you came here and shared it with us. You know, you've always been part of our family, and I'm grateful that you gave me the opportunity to share it with me on here and with
All
our
right, one
family.
more thing. I wasn't talking about Hurricane Michael. I was talking about Hurricane Zeta. My front door blew open during it, and I spent the whole 3 hours of that storm fighting 90-mile-an-hour winds. And gee, I
Oh,
only weigh 129 maybe, and I was doing my best to keep my front door shut, and I couldn't let go of it to go grab a hammer, board, nails, and screws to screw it shut. And that was one horrifying experience. 3 tornadoes went over, took my front porch completely off, divided its roof into 3 different sections, threw 2 of the sections on top of my roof, and wrapped 1 section into my tree. And the tornadoes hopped over my house and completely leveled my shed and twisted it up like a garbage pile in the woods behind me. And it
gee.
blew my north laundry room wall out and a window out. And, you know, of course, I believe in the power of prayer, folks, and I'm okay. It's
Oh,
not a
thank
flood
God.
to help me, okay? I mean, but no,
Absolutely.
I have asked many people, where do you think Sasquatch go in the middle of a hurricane? And yes, Donnie, that was a very interesting answer because I can only deduce a cave.
Oh yeah. Well, where you're at, there aren't really any caves over
Right.
unless you
Okay.
go north, all the way to the northern end. But over
Well,
there, I
you
don't
got to
know.
take in consideration riverbanks that go down, and they're probably pretty good swimmers.
Oh,
But
I'm
those,
sure.
and if a hurricane doesn't bring a lot of rain, well, then they know where some gullies are. They know what you know.
Oh yeah,
I've
these
often wondered what
underpasses.
it is one of those curious questions of after all the storms that the United States has a history of, why aren't where's all the bodies? You know, people don't survive tornadoes, folks. So it
Oh
can
right, right.
Sasquatch survive one?
I think that they um, tragedy falls upon them too. Just
They
my
take care of
opinion.
their own though,
I think
quickly.
they take care of their own. Yes. Um, there's a lot of high strangeness to them, and one of the things that really changed my thinking was Brother Jeff and I were talking recently, and I always thought maybe they were sent here as protectors of the animals because they could handle any animal on the planet very easily if it come to pulling a thorn out of the lion's paw, so to speak. You know those situations, and I said no, it ain't them that. And then I thought maybe they're being released from the bottomless pit. Maybe the angel's here. He's unlocked the gates, and the beasts are coming out. And then I remembered where the Bible says when the beasts are released, they're not allowed to harm even the blade of grass. Only people who have turned their backs on God. And these things destroy the trees, they destroy everything. But then Jeff
Okay.
says something that changed everything. He says, Donnie, uh, what did God say about his creation, the animals on earth? He says, we have dominion over all of them. Nobody has dominion over Sasquatch. There's not a soul on the planet that can control a Sasquatch. And it's true. So where does that make them as being who's their creator? And that just kind of blew me away.
Yeah, who's their creator? And here's the
Yeah.
next question. All right, all those that deduce they're part human, they're part beast. Okay, well, that means they have half a soul. Are they busy all their life fighting a soul? Half a soul?
Oh, very true. I never thought about that.
If you're
That's
half
very true.
human, then, you know, where's that soul?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. I never thought about that either. We have so
Uh,
many unanswered questions, and
yeah, it's one of those,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And it does get you to think. It's such a crazy field. I wanted to before you go, I know you're tired. Were
Oh, I'm
you up to
fine.
take a few questions from people?
Oh, maybe.
maybe. Well,
I'm ornery, you know that, Donnie. I'm just plain old ornery. You know, it just comes
no,
with being.
no.
I'm just a southern ornery girl. But go for
Oh,
it, shoot, folks.
yeah. If you guys have a question for, just put it in capital letters. We're not going to be able to get to everyone. You
And
know,
I
we
can't see the questions with my phone, Donnie. Okay.
I'll read them out to you. Let me make sure I'm even caught up. Oh, I'm way off. Oh, there we go. I'm looking to see if there are any that's popped up. But if any of y'all do have any questions for about our encounters or anything of the sort, just put them in capital letters.
And y'all keep in mind, I smile a lot anyway. It's just part of my personality.
Oh, it's good to smile. That's that healing wax of the soul. I had 2 dogs knocked out half my bottom teeth, and I still smile.
Well, and Pappy left us with some real good advice, Donnie.
Yes, absolutely. This is from Butch. He says, "What state do you live in?"
I'm in South Mississippi.
Yep, and I guess that's where you, both encounters were in South Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I knew the one was. I couldn't remember what the other one was.
Well, one time up in the Ozarks when I was up at my grandma's house in the Ozarks, I was mad. My brothers left and went to town, and I don't know. I was a young woman, and I decided I was going to cut out and walk 9 miles to town. Down an Ozark Road, I was bound and
Oh,
determined I was going to have me a beer, Donnie. I was
oh
young,
wow.
and for every, I was walking, and I was so mad at my brothers. I know I'd walked a good mile before I slowed down to a pace, and then I just started walking, and all of a sudden I'm hearing something hop in the woods. And I know for every 5 or 10 steps I took, it took 1 step. And I got followed almost 9 miles to town. Now it takes at a 3-mile-an-hour pace going down an old country road, it takes 3 hours to get to town.
Oh yeah, that easy.
Ooh,
Take me
that was a
twice
tough
that.
night.
It's let's see, Northern Illinois Sasquatch researchers Edget says, "What did the face look like? Human?"
It was the typical, how they describe it's blackish and it's grayish. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got well, I've had a lot of people say, I had never seen glowing red eyes. No, those eyes glowed red. People have asked me, well, do you think it's way the moon was out that night? And they asked me, well, do you think it's way the light just shined on them?
Yeah, it
No,
wasn't eye
I
shine.
don't.
They were actually illuminated.
They were angry.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. This is from Stan. Uh, it says, "Do you think they were in the trees on your encounters?"
Well, I can't rule that out. Okay. I mean, in the South, you got big old oak trees that could handle their
Oh,
weight.
yes, indeed, huge ones. That's what I was thinking. The very first time you shared it with me is if that one was in the tree when you climbed up in that platform and kind of swung down and smacked
I
you.
can't rule that out. I was too naive as a young girl to look up. And so, yeah, nowadays I tell people if you think you're going squatching, don't just be looking for tracks and signs. You better be looking up through the trees.
Absolutely. I kind of, that was a learning process for me as well.
Well, we look for moccasins and snakes hanging from the trees, Donnie, and stuff like that and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
we kind of.
This is from Armando. He says, "Have you ever seen a lot of high strangeness?"
Oh, well, Armando, I will share with you. There are times I am very seriously clairvoyant. There's times God taps me on the shoulder. I do listen.
Oh, yes.
There is times when a person I know can be 500, 600 miles away from me, and all of a sudden I know they're in danger. My father was a half-blooded Native American, and he was also half Spanish. And as a little girl, when I was 6 years old, he used to sit me down and say, if you ever see a ghost, ask them their name, ask them where they came from, ask them where they were born, ask them where they died, ask them what they did before they died, and ask them what they're doing now. Because my father, some people do have some people do have the veil, so to speak, removed from them. They
Oh yeah,
are able to see spirits. They are able to detect things. So
yeah.
yes, yes, Armando. The question is, I have seen a lot of high strangeness in my lifetime.
And this one's from Pappy. He says, "Are you continuing to have encounters in the area you are living?"
Well, Pappy, after that, my house got slapped, and I I haven't seen them since. And I don't venture far off from home, Pappy, but I am dying to go camping with somebody I can trust. I
That's
love
right.
the woods. I'd love to go camping, but not thus far since what I just told you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in agreement with you 100%. This is from Don. Don Moore says, "Have you lost any dogs? And what is your opinion about homeowners that are losing animals to these creatures?"
We can't keep cats around here.
Wow. And
You,
that's,
you
uh,
can't keep cats around here. It's almost impossible.
and these creatures are
And okay, and
probably
he's sparked
suspect.
my memory because um the neighbor behind me went missing his dog, and that dog he finally came dragging home one day with the most badly mangled leg you've ever seen in your life. And he took him to the vet, and the vet didn't know what happened to him.
Wow.
But I'll tell you what I think happened to him, because the vet knew it wasn't bobcat. We have bobcats and coyotes, and we have predators around here. I mean, I got a little black fox that travels my yard every now and then.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, that's a rare sight. Um, but we have black bear around here, but this is a docile dog we're talking about. And yeah, we used to run a really friendly dog, but barked, was territorial as well. But we can't explain what took that dog's leg. Couldn't
Wow.
have been a car. No predator we knew could have ripped and mangled a dog's leg like that in one sheer. No, it's morbid.
Yeah, and
It's
the
macabre.
thing,
Yeah.
a dog will fight back too, and to stand up to the aggression of an injured dog, it takes a lot. That
Right.
I'm gonna put this one up, and I'm kind of gonna address it just a little bit. I hope you don't mind. Dino98 says, "What is your opinion on Todd Standing?" And the reason I wanted to jump in on it is um, if you're not familiar with us here on Standing Goats Rescue, we don't knock anybody else down if we don't like them. Uh, Everybody here has a purpose. We're all trying to help one another, and some people, their purpose is far different than what ours is. They're taking a different route on it. I think Todd has caught some amazing photographs, and one that he has caught is the only one I've ever found that is almost identical to what I encountered. And I emailed him a few times, and I haven't got an answer. And he's probably busy, but that's just my point on that. I don't like to bring other people up because sometimes you in the chat you'll see where somebody doesn't care for that person, and then you'll start getting some offensive stuff stirred up on other people, and we don't want to do that to nobody.
Well, I look at it like this: to each their own right of their own opinion, what they think they saw, what they think they're doing, and to their own agendas. Okay. What
Oh
I
yeah.
really enjoy about this channel, Donnie, is we're not here to gain brownie points from anybody. We're trying to share what it is happened to
That's
us.
right.
And I'll bet 10-1 if Todd wanted to appear on Donnie's show. Well, gee, all he's got to do is mail Donnie and come right on and talk to
Oh
us,
yeah,
huh?
I'd absolutely bring him on. And I'll tell you what, he's a lot braver than I am. I watched a lot of his stuff, and there's no way I would be getting out there in the places he's going. I mean, he's on a mission, and he's gonna find them. He's gonna get what he wants, and I believe a lot of the stuff he's captured is real. That's just my feelings on it.
Well, I haven't studied him an awful lot to be able to share a justified opinion on it, Donnie. Okay.
Right, right. Yeah, just I couldn't do what he does. I just these creatures scare me far too much for me to go out there chasing them. I enjoy the outdoors. I like seeing where they've been. I don't want to see where they're at. Just where they once were. I'm fine with that. This and his you know about Kerry was filming the documentary. He's working on that, and he had to go back to work. A lot of things happened with this COVID. He got held off, and Ian Taylor was asking me, when is Kerry visiting? I think he's coming down this month, I believe. I'm trying to get him to hold off because hunting season is in, and I can't take him to these areas where I would normally film because some of them are dog hunt areas, and people pay for the lease rights to run dogs in them, and we can get in a lot of trouble for being on that property.
Right.
A felony charge if you're on it with a firearm, and I don't go in the woods unarmed.
Well, now I'm a big fan of Kerry because
Oh yeah, Kerry's my buddy.
the one thing I knew about Kerry when I contacted him, and I've spoke to Kerry on the phone, and I have great respect for him and his wife and what he does.
Oh yes.
There's something that happens between us when we actually talk personally about our experiences. When someone's telling the truth, if they had that real fear in their heart that was instilled in them,
Yes.
if they're telling the truth about what they saw. It's just something we all have in common, because out of all the fears you've ever had in all of your born days, Donnie, does any compare to the ones you've had in your encounters?
No, none.
Mine neither.
And you are so right on that. Nothing compares to that.
Nothing.
These things, they do something to you mentally, and
Now,
it's
do
horrible.
I think some of them are tricksters and possible shapeshifters? You betcha.
Yes, I believe that as well. I witnessed some pretty odd things this year, and
Think about it. We humans, humans are con artists. Humans know how to play roles. Humans may not be all up and up. You know,
oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, don't think that they can't be deceptive. That's what really bothers me about people that don't fear them at all. About people that really aren't taking precautions, because
yeah,
how do they know that that Sasquatch is not playing a little game with them and getting reeling them in? Because if you'll recall,
yeah,
Donnie, on Bigfoot Odyssey not too long ago, I cannot remember the man's name. He
yeah.
gave
Mark,
the most horrifying encounter.
you're talking about Mark.
I will never forget that man telling his encounter. How they used him basically as bait.
Yeah,
I mean, who? That is the toughest encounter I have ever heard.
yeah.
Ever.
That's when you start getting into the demonic side of it, and that's my opinion on it. But there's
Just don't
nothing good.
underestimate them. That's
That's
my
right.
advice.
Never let your guard down. Keep the armor, the whole armor of God upon you when you go out in these areas. Never go out unarmed. And Holy Spirit is our sword. That's part of our arming. Carry that sword on you and carry that armor of light, and you'll be fine. This is from Don Moore. He says, Pearl, do you see others' aura colors, or can you see what cryptid it is from others' descriptions, like a movie playing in a loop?
Well, he's basically talking a little bit about remote viewing, and I try my best not to participate in remote viewing.
Yeah.
And as far as people's auras, I recognize spirits. I don't normally always see a ghost or a spirit, but um, it's a little hard for me to explain. I'm part Native American, and so sometimes you get visions that come with
Yeah.
an encounter. For instance, a dream I had not too long ago. I had dreamed that I saw them all standing on a hill, and we had been gone squatching, and we were down in a gully. It and we went up a ridge, and we peeked our heads over the top, and there was so many that we saw, and they were
Wow.
all sitting there and with their arms, swaying back and forth as they were readying for something. And I couldn't take that as a premonition. It was a nightmare, but it's the first time I ever actually dreamed, okay,
Oh,
of
yeah.
that many at once. And so it really bothered me. It felt
Yeah.
too real. It really bothered me. But um, as far as seeing other people's aura colors, I sense presences.
Oh, right.
It's like
Right.
Donnie said. I mean, you sense them. You know when something's not right.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And if you listen to the environment, I have a hard time doing it in people, in groups of people, in areas where there's a lot of people. But when you get uh, out of those environments and you get to where you're surrounded by creation, you can pick up where things are. And I tried to explain it to Jeff. It's almost as though you're looking down a hallway and it gets wider the further it gets away from you. But whatever it is that's over there that you're sensing is in that little path, that hallway. And it's sort of hard to explain. And Jeff and I went out in the woods several times, and I pointed and telling him, I said, there's something over there, between that
You
tree and that
feel it.
pine, and you can feel it. And they're watching you. And it's
And
not
it's not
always,
a figment of your imagination.
no, not at
You
all.
can feel it.
Yet there's
You
something there,
sense
and
it.
you can't ignore it. If you try to turn and go the other way, you're drawn to come back and to look and to see. And it's frightening. It scares me.
I don't know how you turn around to go see Donnie, because I'd
I
be
don't
jumping
go
on
to
top
it.
of the air the other way.
Yeah, I don't go. I don't go to it, but I try to make a path that, as I'm going away from it, kind of around it, to see, because I want to see what is freaking me out. Now, if I see it, different story. I'm turning the wheel 90 degrees and I'm beating the rubber off my shoes and I'm getting back to the truck. I don't like seeing them things out there. They scare me.
And I pick up on vibes, okay,
Yeah.
vibrations. We all have an innate sense and an innate instinct. For instance, if you walk into a crowded room, okay, if you walk into a place you've never been before, and all of a sudden you feel like you need to leave, well, guess what? You need to leave.
Amen to
It's as
that.
simple as that. That is your instinct telling you that. That isn't your fear. That's your instinct. I mean,
That's right.
surely some of you have walked in a place and thought, oh, wow, and turned right around and left.
Yeah. That's definitely happened.
I don't mean by what you saw, I mean by what you felt.
you feel it, and when
Uh,
you start disregarding that, that's when things are going to get bad for you.
And I don't usually share any. I promised Creator a long time ago that if I ever used my gifts, that I would only use my gifts with Creator's permission. And
Yes.
there's a real reason for that, because, pardon the expression, if God wants you to pick a car off of somebody that's had a bad car wreck and gives you the adrenaline to pick that car up and
Oh
hurl it
yeah.
off of somebody, well, that's an act of God in my eyes. Okay, that
Oh yeah, absolutely.
um, there's just times in my life to where what it is I learned about gifts, and you either use them wisely or you don't. And if you
Yeah.
don't use them wisely,
You
you
lose them.
will. Well, and you may suffer the consequences of your own actions eventually.
Oh yeah, I believe that. This is Don again, Don Moore. And he's saying, he says, Pearl, I understand what you're saying. My sister-in-law who died could see things, but she could turn herself off from it, and it would take a lot out of her. I've heard that before. I don't recall where, but about that same thing. Uh, I see things a lot. The empath, I think is what they called it, and I don't like it. Uh, I'd rather turn it off, but I don't know how to do that. I've tried, and I try to ignore it, but I can't ignore it. I don't know how to turn it off, but are you able to do that? Are you able to turn off?
Well, Donnie, I have to reach out to the Lord to do it.
I've asked him to remove it from me before several
No,
times.
I mean, while it's busy going on, if I've got to shake it, that's who helps me shake it.
Oh
Simple as
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But no, there's times I can't turn it off because that's usually a warning that,
Yeah,
if it's something that frightens you, it's probably not something that you really want to be next to,
that's
that you
right.
don't want near you. Okay. And
Oh,
yes, we all have souls, and all of our soul, we are empowered by our Creator.
amen, amen. He is our energizer, definitely. We'll get this one more up, and we won't hang on to you too late. We've been pushing a little over 2 hours. This is for you. It says, Pearl, not only shapeshifters, but do you also feel like they're chimeras? If yes, then this means they're constantly masquerading, which has demonic implications in my view.
I have
And that's
one thing to say about that, and what I will say is that it. Sometimes I get a little caught up, and I'm going to say something that's a little out of context here, folks. But if you believe that there, are angels and demons, and there's a Lord, and there's a devil, okay, all
oh yeah,
right. Well, it clearly tells you that that old devil can take any shape or any form, and
yes,
even come in the form of a man.
master of
So,
deceit.
so I mean, a lot of times, yeah, there might be beasts of the field. There, who knows what the army of the evil one entails. But don't think that they can't change their disguises. You'd be
That's
a
right.
fool. And even that old ugly one comes, can be disguised as a light bearing angel. And for people who are channeling this, that, and the other, and can't see what they're channeling, oh, but they think it's some kind of light bearing, oh, wonderful, loving thing. What they need to do is ask for that mask to be removed from that, and for God
Yes.
to show them exactly who they're talking to. I
And
don't think they'd like their answer too well.
this is Pappy this sums it up, what Pappy's saying here. Remember, Job tried to turn off his calling too, and Creator was insistent, though, wasn't he? Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
indeed, Pappy. There you
Yes,
have it.
absolutely. And um, you know, Pappy educated me on that
That's
here
right.
about a close to a year ago. Him and I were talking about that same thing, and we had a little baby goat that was deformed. He had so many issues at birth, and we fought with that little fella trying to save him, and it didn't happen. He only had half a jaw, and he had a lot going on, and we named the baby Job, Job's Light. And Pappy and I were talking about it, and that was one of the things that he was talking about, and it was such a lifting, getting that off of you. And he knows what he's doing. And if these babies are born deformed, and it doesn't matter if they're human or dog, whatever they are, if they're born deformed and they're not able to fulfill their purpose, he's going to pull them out. he's going to put him in another body. I believe the animals will go back to another body. That's they can come back and live it all up again.
When it comes to discerning spirits, okay, that's a very tricky ordeal. And Pappy is part Native American. He really knows that. You can be fooled quite easily, and I'm sure Pappy probably knows the old saying of some people walk with two shadows. Well, you can't straddle both sides of the fence and think and think that that's a good thing. And some people don't walk topside, Pappy. We really know that.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. And
I know a lot of people didn't understand what I said, but I sure know there's some Native Americans who know exactly what I just said.
oh yeah, my father was Native. And he was a little out there. He's a little hard in the liquor, and
Well,
finally,
I get it, Donnie. I mean, but Pappy's a real wise person, and
he
I
is.
think the biggest message I want to give people is listen to your heart, listen to your instinct. Okay, and there's a lot of times that we really think that the mind can fool you. Okay, and it can play head games with you and tricks with you. But your heart and your soul will never lie to you.
That's right. That is right. And that's one thing that I've always listened to is that feeling when Holy Spirit reaches in you and he starts that tapping, stop what you're doing, or tries to turn you away from something. The worst mistake you can ever make is not obeying and listening to what he's calling you to do or telling you to do. And he saved me from so much. And I'm self-destructive. I broke my back 3 times. I broke my neck once. I've never broken my clavicle or my sternum. I've broken every bone in my body except these 2 and that little one right there. But I've broken all the rest of them. And God did none of it. Holy Spirit did none of it. That was all me. I was full of ignorance and still am to an extent.
We get taught life lessons from our hard-headedness, Donnie.
That's right. That's right. But I keep the arthritis people in check. They have a job as long as I'm around.
Well, there's a thing called white flower oil, and that's spelled Flower. And it's lavender and eucalyptus. It's pure oil. It comes in a little bitty 1 ounce bottle found online. The Asians have used it for a long time. And Donnie, it works better than Bengay, Mineral Ice, anything you ever used. It can cure a migraine, I mean,
mine is all right in them hands. Oh, it hurts. But it's all
we're
good.
not getting any younger, no.
That's right.
But I know we've been going on 2 hours, Donnie. I really can't thank you enough for just having me on impromptu. As unkempt as I am right now.
No,
but
you're fine.
I need for you to know that I heard your call. You really wanted somebody to come on and talk. And I kind of, you've been waiting to talk to me a long time in person, and I thought, well, it's time.
Yes, indeed, and I appreciate it so much. And don't go anywhere yet. We're gonna close it up on here. And we just, you guys in the chat, thank y'all so much for bearing with us and welcoming our guest. And Seven Pearls has been with us for a long time, and we have her and I we have a relationship outside of YouTube. We talk behind the scenes. I haven't talked to her in a while yet. We've been really busy. It's been a crazy year, especially November and December. But maybe we'll get her to come on again sometime. But I hope y'all have a wonderful new year.
Big maybe. I don't know. It's hard to budge me onto a camera, Donnie.
I know it, but it's always wishful thinking. I
Big
enjoyed it.
shout out to Donnie's wife, Kim. That's the backbone.
That's
You
right.
know, we want to see more of you, Kim. Okay, one day I want you on here to talk to with me. All right, because I
We're
just
gonna
know
get her
your
on.
intuition's pretty good too, girl.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get her on. Thank you. And it just went tonight ended up so much better than what I could ever hope for. And I got my brother Corbett Rich in the chat, and Butch and Don. There's so many of you guys. I can't name everyone off. We'll be carrying on for another 45 minutes. But to all you guys that are here with us and the moderators, I love you all. Y'all are part of this family. Y'all are the reason that we're where we're at now. We're just going to keep building. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. I have to be really careful on my filming right now because it is hunting season, and the areas that I'm filming are hunting
Ooh,
areas.
yeah.
So I have to
Yeah,
try to.
don't give away the good spots, Donnie.
No, I don't. Some of this stuff is private areas, and I can't list them anyway. I don't want to bring the home or the landowner trouble. Get a bunch of people flooding his land. It'd be the end of my hunting over there. But thank you guys.
Donnie, I want to say one more thing. There's times when I was moderating, and I would hear other people's encounters, and each time I hear another person's encounter, and you and I, Donnie, we're able to know if they're telling the truth when they do. Every time I hear someone else's encounter, I have a tendency to it flashbacks my own
Yes.
into
Yeah.
me, and I think that's one of the hardest things that I work through
Yeah.
is when it comes to
Absolutely.
that.
And some of them that get emailed to me, they do that to me. They hit me pretty hard, but the author doesn't want me to share it, and it's hard. But I'm not gonna go against their wishes. I'm not gonna share nothing that they don't want. But yeah, the same thing. Some of them take me back to the night that I had my encounter, and it's horrifying. It's really really frightening. I had to put this up right quick. I wanted you to see it while everybody's still watching. This from Pappy. Pappy says to bring 7 Pearls on as a co-host with you would be a great live feed. We
Oh,
got Pappy's
Pappy.
blessing. You see
You know,
that?
Pappy, I really want you here, okay? I'm telling you what, Pappy, I have an intuitive connection with you, Pappy, and I've had it from since day one. You trotted into a chat room. You touched so many hearts, Pappy, and you have
Oh
so
yeah.
much wisdom that you know
He's
you
one of a
too,
kind.
Pappy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just if you look through the chat at these people, we're we, we're beyond blessed to have a family like this on YouTube. We're so blessed. But guys, um I'm gonna have to cut this off. We've been on a while, and I don't want to keep her up all night. Very gracious that you joined us. But
Thanks,
y'all,
Donnie. I'm running out of battery.
well, we're shutting it down, guys. God bless you. We love you. Y'all have a happy New Year, and just stay tuned. We've got another encounter coming. I just got to have time to finish editing. So
And
y'all have a
love and
good evening.
blessings to all.
Hallelujah. God bless you. And we'll see you guys again soon. Be safe.
All right.